I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Tuesday, September the 8th, 2015. The mother of the baby who was killed in July by suspected Jewish right-wing extremists has died. 27-year-old Palestinian Reham Dewabshe died Sunday night of severe burn wounds she had sustained in the July 31st arson attack of her home in the Arab village of Douma that killed her son, 18-month-old Ali Dewabshe, in the West Bank. Rahim's husband and Ali's father, Saeed Dewabshe, died last month of wounds he sustained in the deadly attack. A second son, Ahmed, who was 4, remains in intensive care at Soroka Medical Center in Beersheba. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu expressed his condolences to the Dewabshe family on the death of Reham. He said Israel was making every effort to find those responsible for the attack and bring them to justice. No one has yet been charged in the Douma arson, though several Jewish extremists are being held by Israel in administrative detention. Meanwhile, 2 Jewish extremist teenagers were indicted for an arson attack that took place last month on an occupied Bedouin tent in the West Bank. A gag order in the case was lifted yesterday, revealing that 19-year-old Avi Gafni and a minor were indicted on charges of incitement, threats, conspiring to commit a felony, and obstructing justice. Israeli forces arrested 11 Palestinian security suspects across the West Bank overnight last night, 6 of them members of terror group Hamas. The other 5, the IDF said, had taken part in unorganized terrorism and rioting against security forces and against civilians. Democratic leader of the U.S. Senate Harry Reid said today that the nuclear deal with Iran will survive a review by Congress. While several Democratic senators have come out against the deal, including most recently today, West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin, 38 senators have already expressed their support for the deal. Also today, Jewish Congresswoman Representative Lois Frankel from South Florida expressed her opposition to the deal. On tonight's In the News with Mark S. Golub, National Director Emeritus of the Anti-Defamation League, Abe Foxman, talks about the significance of President Obama's securing enough votes to sustain a veto on the Iran deal and the future for the state of Israel and American Jewry. That's coming up right after this news update tonight. A 17-year-old Jewish teenager was reportedly beaten unconscious in what is thought to have been an anti-Semitic attack in Great Britain. Britain's Jewish Chronicle reports that the teen and 3 friends were assaulted at a train station in Manchester Saturday night at the Rockervale Metrolink stop by assailants who also yelled verbal abuse at them. The 3 friends between the ages of 18 and 20 were lightly injured, but the 17-year-old, who awoke from a coma yesterday, remains hospitalized, and police are investigating the incident as a hate crime. The 43rd anniversary of the Munich massacre was marked this weekend. 11 Israeli athletes were murdered on September the 5th of 1972 at the Munich Olympics by members of the Palestinian terrorist organization Black September. The families of the Munich 11 have fought for years for a permanent memorial to honor their loved ones. Such a memorial is set to be unveiled in Munich next fall. And as we approach the Jewish New Year, the Central Bureau of Statistics in Israel released their annual report today, according to which there are presently 8.412 million people living in Israel today, a 1.9% increase from last year at this time. Of that number, 74.9% are Jewish, 20.7% Arab, and 4.4% are listed under other residents. 28,000 new immigrants, or Olim, made Israel their home over this past year, a 35% increase from last year. 26% of those Olim came from the Ukraine, 25% from France, 21% from Russia, and 9% from the U.S. And looking now at our programming for tonight, Tuesday, September the 8th, at 8 o'clock, Eye on Israel with host Shachar Azani, who is Executive Director of Stand With Us Northeast Region, speaks with Olga Melshow about her organization, DAISY, Defend, Embrace, Invest, Support Israel. Then at 8:30, the Friends of the IDF host a luncheon to honor and hear from 2 female members of the Israeli Defense Forces, Sergeant Penina Simkowitz and Brigadier General in Reserve Gila Cliffy Amir from Temple Israel in Westport, Connecticut. And at 9, Mark Golub sits down with Rabbi Emeritus of Congregation Sharith Israel, Mark Angel, on L'chaim. Remember, coming up right after this newscast, In the News, where Mark Golub is joined by ADL Director Emeritus Abe Foxman to discuss the Iran deal. And finally today, JBS President Mark S. Golub and all of us here at JBS send our profound condolences to Stephen Boehm, who serves as director of the Contemporary Jewish Life Department of the American Jewish Committee and whom you have seen many times on JBS. Boehm's 31-year-old son, Yehuda, was tragically killed last night in a horrific car accident in upstate New York. Also killed in the crash, Yehuda's future in-laws, Morris and Beth Fatalowitz. Yehuda and the Fatalowitz's daughter, Shani, were recently engaged to be married. Shani and her two brothers, who were also traveling in the car, were critically injured in the accident. They are expected to survive. The family was on their way back from the Catskills last night when their vehicle rolled over several times on Route 17 in Mamakating. Everyone has very special, lovely things to say about Yehuda, and we know that his memory will forever be a blessing. And all of us here at JBS send our deepest condolences to the Boehm family on this unspeakable tragedy.